I call this meeting to order, and we will have a moment for prayer or reflection. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. First, we have adoption of the agenda, and we are going to withdraw item 11.1 under unfinished business, which is the 2022 Municipal Investment Medicine Hat budget update. That item does appear elsewhere on the agenda. And we're going to be adding an item under new business, item 13.3, the title of Facility Naming Rights Agreement. And we have Josie Dahl, our Corporate Partnership Coordinator, who will be speaking to that item. Motion to adopt the agenda.
Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor McGrogan, and seconded by Councillor Hyder.
And vote.
Any objections or comments? Councillor Hirsch? Okay, we will vote.
That's unanimous. Our next item we have under adoption of the minutes is 7.1, our Special Medicine Hat City Council meeting of November 8th, 2021.
I'll move that for adoption.
Any questions or comments? Okay, we will vote.
Okay, unanimous. And our next item we have is the regular Medicine Hat City Council meeting of November 15th of 2021.
Can I get a motion?
Move adoption.
I second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we will vote.
Okay, next we have under presentations, item 8.1, the Premier's Council on the Status of Persons with Disabilities Award presentation this evening. And the award specifically being presented is the Gary McPherson Leadership Award. And Leslie Jerry, our Community Inclusion Coordinator, is going to speak to this item.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here this evening and to introduce the MLA for Brooks Medicine Hat, Michaela Fry, who is also a government member sitting on the Premier's Council for the Status of Persons with Disabilities.
MLA Fry, you think you're on mute. Still can't hear you.
I can hear Michaela Fry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. You have the floor.
Mayor Clark, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. MLA
Okay,
Fry,
sorry, having some difficulty over here.
you
I'm in
have the floor.
Edmonton. Bear with me. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for having me tonight. I want to extend my gratitude to the City of Medicine Hat Council and the IDPD for organizing this committee and arranging the presentation for tonight. I'm so sorry I can't be there. Session has gone a little while longer than we had anticipated it to, so I am coming to you from Edmonton. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to do this today, specifically because I have known Mr. Gillum for quite some time. In fact, he used to be a hunting buddy of my great-grandfather. So I am, this is just a really big full circle moment for me to be able to present him with this award. And as we know, since 1992, the United Nations International Day of Persons with Disabilities has been observed annually on December 3rd around the world. The UN theme this year is Leadership and Participation of Persons with Disabilities toward an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michaela Fry, the MLA for Brooks Medicine Hat, and I am a very proud member on the Premier's Council on the Status of Persons with Disabilities. I was appointed last year, and it has easily been one of the most rewarding experiences being elected thus far. If you don't know, the Premier's Council is an advisory board for the Government of Alberta. The Council's job is to be responsible for providing advice to the government regarding opportunities for full and equal participation of persons with disabilities in the life of their province. I am honored to work with the dedicated members of the Council who make this work a priority in their everyday lives. And I share their passion for creating a world and creating an Alberta where all people are included and equal. And I'm very proud today, and I'm thrilled that I get to have the opportunity to present the Gary McPherson Leadership Award from the Premier's Council. The importance of inclusion and accessibility cannot be overstated. And that's why many of you work every day to empower Albertans with disabilities, not just on International Day of Persons with Disabilities, but every day. To celebrate and recognize this passion for making a difference, the Premier's Council presents annual awards in up to 6 categories to individuals and organizations that have greatly contributed to the inclusion of people with disabilities in Alberta over the past year. This evening, I had the opportunity of presenting the Gary McPherson Leadership Award, as I said, to an individual who's demonstrated outstanding leadership or achievement in enriching the lives of persons with disabilities. This award is named after Dr. Gary McPherson, who dedicated himself to furthering the ideals of equality and citizenship for all Albertans. He also served as the first chair of the Premier's Council on the Status of Persons with Disabilities. The recipient this year for this year's award is being recognized in the following areas: for being a tireless and passionate advocate for all people with disabilities, for being a leader with Ready Enterprises, which supports individuals with disabilities in Medicine Hat, as we all know, and demonstrating what is possible for people with disabilities to achieve. He's also being recognized for being a lifetime volunteer for community organizations that increase accessibility and inclusion for people with disabilities. So I want to take the opportunity to formally congratulate Mr. Frank Gillum on receiving this award. Members of the Premier's Council are presenting other awards at events in their local communities on or around December 3rd. I believe there was actually one presented on Friday, and information on all of the award winners can be found on our website. So on behalf of the Premier's Council, we would like to once again thank you all for making this presentation possible. I would also like to thank Mayor Clark and all of the councillors and the City of Medicine Hat, as well as the City of Medicine Hat IDPD Organizing Committee for the work that they do in our schools each year around this time to increase and raise the awareness of the value of inclusion and accessibility in Alberta. So I will just sign off now, and I'll say thank you to all of you once again for having me, and want you to enjoy the rest of the evening. Once again, Frank, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you, and I'm so excited that you're receiving this award tonight. So thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you, Michaela. It makes me happy to have this award presented by you as I have known you my entire life, or your entire life. Your family and myself go back to 1984 when I moved to Medicine Hat. Oh, I got to get. When I moved to Medicine Hat, your grandmother, Catherine, and her sister, Teresa, both worked at the group home I moved into, and it wasn't long before I was great friends with your father, Michael, and his grandparents who lived on the same block as I did. Yeah, I think your dad was 13 or 14 at the time, and I formed a great bond with both him and his grandfather, O.V., or Bops as the family called him. Together we shared many fishing and hunting trips throughout the years. O.V. and I carpooled to Tiger hockey games for many years. I got to hear many complaints about the officiating on the trips home. We would certainly have won every game if it hadn't been for the refs. When I heard that I had been nominated and selected for this award, I was incredibly humbled. Having my name mentioned in the same breath as Gary's is truly an incredible honor that I will cherish forever. I had met Gary McPherson previously in the early 1980s at an event hosted by the Alberta chapter of the Canadian Paraplegic Association in Edmonton. I was representing the southeast portion of the province at that time. I remember being so impressed with his spirit and determination. Over the years, his name kept resurfacing with news of his accomplishments. He truly made a difference in turning his community into a better place for everyone, and his memory is continuing to do so. I then did some research on Gary and was struck by the many similarities that had taken place in our lives. We both had our lives uprooted forever, well, in our youth. Gary was struck by debilitating polio at the age of 9, and I suffered a spinal cord injury at the age of 18. That was back in 1970. Fortunately, I was part of a great family with devoted parents and 8 other siblings that supported and encouraged me on every endeavor I tried, no matter how idiotic it seemed. It wasn't long before I was once again driving, fishing, and hunting, and doing all the things I used to love. In some ways, it was better than before, as I can't remember the last fish I actually cleaned. However, I knew that I had to turn my life around. Being a farmer and mechanic were out of the question now, so going forward, I re-educated myself to become a certified general accountant. I then spent the next 36 years living and working in Medicine Hat. Most of that time was spent working with Ready Enterprises Society as their manager of finance and administration. Ready stands for Rehabilitation and Employment for Developing Independence, and this was something I really believed in. Ready provided community employment supports as well as rehabilitation services to individuals facing barriers in their lives. It was incredibly rewarding work, and the agency grew to be one of the largest employers in Medicine Hat. I really believe that meaningful employment empowers individuals to pursue all their dreams and to be the best version of themselves that they can. And that is a great goal for anyone to pursue. From 2007 to present, I have been involved as a volunteer member on an advisory committee on disability issues for the City of Medicine Hat. Last year, we transitioned into a working group for accessibility and inclusion. The majority of our members self-identify as living with conditions that present various challenges when trying to live and participate within our community. It's so fulfilling when you see the various city departments utilizing our collective experiences, knowledge, and willingness to help in any way. We've conducted accessibility audits on city-owned facilities and parks, prepared written reports on the same. We've conducted community awareness training exercises around issues like sidewalk, snow, and ice removal, and the proper use and importance of accessible parking spots. We've organized and conducted an accessible transportation show where we informed and educated the public on the various options to cover their transportation needs. And we continually act as a conduit for the public to access in getting access, ability, and inclusion concerns to the appropriate city departments. The one awareness issue that I am very passionate about is the need to educate the city home builders and prospective home buyers of the importance of proper planning when purchasing and constructing a new home. Surveys show that most individuals support the idea of being able to age in their own home, or at the very least be able to stay in their home while recovering from an accident or illness, or to include a friend that now requires a wheelchair in their social plans. Yet we continue to see most homes being built which don't support this concept. Our city has really been making great strides in making Medicine Hat a community where everyone can live and play, but there is still a long way to go. Like Gary, I've been involved in different and unusual endeavors. In my case, I still enjoy fishing, hunting, and volunteering with the Medicine Hat Fish and Game Association to raise funds to support worthwhile projects like habitat rehabilitation for wildlife. However, I'm sure we would both have agreed that our most significant and rewarding role in life is that of being a partner and father figure to a wonderful woman and two children, and later in my case, a grandpa to two precious granddaughters. Being a grandpa is absolutely the best and most rewarding job I've ever had. I could only wish that Gary had been blessed with the time to experience this feeling. I'd like to send a special thanks to Leslie, Dawn, and Alan for nominating me for this award, and the Premier's Council on the Status of Persons with Disabilities for deeming me worthy of it. I'd also like to thank my parents and 8 siblings for all their support and encouragement over the years. Yvonne and her 2 boys, Ryan and Derek, who have shared their hearts and lives with me for the last 27 years. Ryan's wife, Toddy, and their 2 little stinkers, Zoe and Erica, who continually light up my life. As well, thanks to all the incredible friends who have shared their lives and supported me on this incredible journey. Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of council, thank you so much for your many valuable contributions to our community.
Move your reception, your worship.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? No, hearing none, we will vote. That's unanimous.
Thank you. In light of our, I believe, people in the gallery, we're going to move item 13.3 up. That was the item that we added under new business, and that is the facility naming rights agreement. So we are going to have Josie Dahl, Corporate Partnership Coordinator, speak to this item.
Welcome, and you have the floor.
Okay, great. Thank you. Again, my name is Josie Dahl, the Corporate Partnership Coordinator here with the City of Medicine Hat. Thank you so much for having me here tonight, and I'm thrilled to be back here in front of you to announce another naming sponsorship for one of our city facilities. This exciting project, although is new to you, has been months in the making for our flagship recreational facility, formerly known as the FLC. The idea of renaming a facility isn't taken lightly. It's a big commitment on both the part of the sponsor as well as the city. We worked to find a business whose vision and values aligned with those of the city and the facility, and whose business reflected the healthy and active lifestyle brand that is so entwined and integral in community and family wellness. This was not a small task, and we were thrilled when we began discussions with Big Marble Farms. As a longtime local grower, their successes come with determination, motivation, determination, innovation, and careful strategy. By staying true to their commitment to family, community, and environmental sustainability, they have and continue to grow their successful business. Big Marble Farms has proven to be a driver in our local economy and supports the livelihoods of many full-time and part-time workers within our region. They were one of the first greenhouses in Alberta to grow fresh local produce on a year-round basis. You can find their produce in the majority of large grocers here in Western Canada, including Costco, Sobeys, Loblaws, Superstore, Save On Foods, and Safeway, all produced and packaged right here. The impact they are making on this corner of the province and our economy is remarkable. I can tell you firsthand, they are a dynamic, visionary, and vibrant group of people who have a sincere desire to make an impact in this community through this sponsorship. Healthy and active living isn't just a catchphrase for them. It is something that they live by, and we couldn't have asked for a more fitting partner. Their enthusiasm is truly contagious.
Hi, I'm Ryan from Big Marble Farms. We grow over 160 acres of local, sustainable, and downright delicious greenhouse-grown produce. Our tagline is always growing, and that means so much more to us than just growing vegetables. We're always sure to put our home, the Big Marble, first, which means that we're continuously investing in what sustainability looks like for our customers and for our earth. With over 50 years of growing in southern Alberta, local is in our blood, and we believe that it's the little things that we do today that help build a better tomorrow. We're farming for the future.
As you can see, sponsorship from such a great local business is a huge win for everyone, and we are thrilled to welcome Big Marble Farms. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge Ryan Kramer, CEO of Big Marble Farms, along with Jonathan Scow, VP of Sales and Marketing, who are here with us tonight. This has truly been a group effort requiring vision and buy-in from everyone, and I can confidently say that we are very proud to share this with you tonight. So thank you, Big Marble Farms, for supporting this facility and for supporting our city. We are so excited to continue always growing alongside our newest sponsor. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity, and very proudly, for the first time, I'd like to welcome you to the place where we all go to be active, to the Big Marble Go Center. I'd like to now welcome Ryan from Big Marble Farms to field any questions or comments from council.
Are there any questions or comments? You just have to put the thing. Councillor Sharps?
Ryan, thanks so much for coming. I just wanted to say I had the privilege of having a tour at your establishment pre-election, and I come from a background in manufacturing and produce, and I tell you what, that was amazing. I am beyond honored that your name is going to be on that facility. So thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate that.
Councillor Dumanowski?
Your Worship, I'd like to take the opportunity also to recognize Big Marble. And Ryan, thank you for coming. I think it goes without saying that your sponsorship of this facility not only puts us in a good position or a better position financially, but more importantly, the naming of the facility to the Go Center really embodies everything that I think this community and councils past and present and Big Marble want to see, and that it be a functioning space, multi-generational, and a place where people get to interact and play and enjoy this community. I been here long enough to know that we've been looking at naming rights for a period of time now, and obviously we have our co-op place, which is well-known in our community and well-rooted, but you have embarked on the next chapter, a big chapter, and that is putting your namesake to the former FLC, now the Big Marble Go Center, and so we'll have to adapt to that, but I just want to thank you on behalf of the council, certainly myself and the community, for your belief in this community, your dedication. Your company obviously has roots here, has been here a long time now, and has certainly made an impact both economically and otherwise. So you putting your namesake to this, and proudly so, is just another chapter in both of our lives, both for Big Marble and the City of Medicine Hat. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Knodel?
Did I do something wrong? Okay, the button. Gotcha. Thank you for this opportunity. It's truly a great thing. And I think I'm going to say the same thing as Councillor Sharp's. Through the campaign, we had the opportunity to connect with your team. And I think I just want people to know how much your organization, starting with you and your family, value relationships. And this is just evidence of relationship building, and we are on the benefiting side of that. But I think over time, we want to continue to work with you, and this is really a gift. So thank you, and that is all.
Awesome.
Thank you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your inspiration behind the Go Center? I mean, in some ways it speaks for itself, but wanted to give you an opportunity, maybe if you had something to add on that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a little bit different, and I think that's kind of what we were going for, to be honest. So when we named Big Marble a couple of years ago, we were also looking for something that was a little bit different than the norm. So many greenhouses and produce operations across the country use all those keywords, fresh, nature, whatever, right? It's the obvious ones, and we wanted to have something that was a little bit different. And so for those of you that don't know, Big Marble represents the planet Earth. When you look at it from space, it looks like a big marble, right? So there's a really neat meaning behind it, and we wanted something that was also obviously capturing every single aspect of what this facility represents, and that is go. I mean, it's so fitting. And I actually thought this was kind of funny before I came here tonight. So my daughter's in swim club, and she's at the Go Center tonight doing her swim club 4 days a week. Right before I had to leave, my wife was trying to get her and my son out the door, and she's kind of scrambling, and she says, "Come on, we got to go. Go get your shoes on. Come on, we got to go." Anyway, it just made me chuckle. So there's so many different uses for this thing, and I just think, like John and I have been talking a lot about the versatility with this name and the marketing opportunities to be able to cross-market, promote the brand, our brand, and this, and we're super excited. We got a lot of really fun ideas, and it's just so fitting. I mean, we're a family business. We're a group of families working together, or we're all family if you really think about it, right? So, and it's an amazing facility. So we're very, very honored to be a part of this, and really, really looking forward to this partnership too.
Thank you, and thank you for your commitment to our regional economy and our community. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, you're welcome, and the feeling's mutual for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Robbins has a question.
I don't have a question, I pressed the button. So I could make a motion because I'm the head of the Public Services Committee, assuming no one else had anything to ask. So as with great thanks to Big Marble, I'm happy to move that we direct Public Services to proceed to finalize their sponsorship opportunity with Big Marble.
Second.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's seconded. Should we just deal with this one? Yep. Okay, we will vote on that. And that's unanimous. And can I also have a motion to receive the presentation for information?
I'll make that motion as well.
I will second.
We will vote. That one is unanimous too. Thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda, we're going to move to reports. Item 9.1 is the Administrative and Legislative Review Committee meeting of November 12th, and that's just for information, this report.
So are there any questions or comments? Can I get a motion to,
Who's seconder? Okay.
okay, we will vote. And that's unanimous.
Our next report is the Energy and Infrastructure Committee meeting of November 22nd. And both items on this report are for information.
I'd like to motion that it be, the minutes be accepted for information.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we will vote. And that's unanimous.
Our next report is item 9.3. This is the Public Services Committee meeting of November 22nd. And our first item, the Truth and Reconciliation Recommendations Committee, is for adoption. And the remaining items 2 to 4 are for information.
Okay, so can I get a motion for reception, for adoption, and information?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Are there any questions or comments?
I do have one comment just to share my appreciation for the people who are willing to volunteer on the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, and of course the city staff who work so hard to put the recommendation together. I appreciate all of their very hard work and their willingness to participate.
All right, seeing no more questions or comments, we will vote on the motion. And that's unanimous.
Our next report is item 9.4. This is the Corporate Services Committee meeting of November 23rd, and both items are for information.
I move that for information as indicated.
I will second.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? Councilor Dumanowski?
Well, Your Worship, I want to take the opportunity. I know we have had the pleasure of sitting around this table a number of times to recognize city departments for awards, and no one pays me to do so. But I do take pleasure, and certainly as a council, we take pleasure in recognizing our departments when they are being recognized. In this particular case, item 1, my MH portal received the Markham Gold Medal Award. Suffice to say, it's another indication that our department is striving for excellence at all times. In this particular case, it's not so much around clarity or transparency as some of the other accounting awards, but in this case, it is about promotion, keeping our messaging on point, public facing, and having the opportunity to really meet the needs of a community who have more so than ever desire a relationship in a digital world. And certainly we are always moving towards a better place when it comes to this, and the world challenges us to move there too. So in this case, we are being recognized, certainly for the professionalism of this department and the city as a whole for moving toward that end goal. And I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity as chair to recognize our staff and thank them for their dedication, and let's continue to do even better.
Thank you. Councillor Hirsch.
Well, Your Worship, you know, this is a testament, quite frankly, to a lot of heavy lifting that was done by this department. We got challenged a little bit in the fact that we had a website that was really not that functional and not really digital, if you will. It was cumbersome at best, hard to find stuff. And what this is a cornerstone of our citizen-facing strategy to become and make a website that is absolutely user-friendly. In fact, I chuckle because I actually, again, I used it today. And the first thing it says is, what do you want to do? And it's a brilliant website where it just directs you right away. So, you know, I just want to thank the effort that was put towards this, and the award is very well deserved. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Knodel?
So during my campaign, it was my desire to see communication and digitization and a more technologically literate city. And I think that the deeper and more immersed I get in the community of the city of Medicine Hat, the more I realize those efforts exist. And it's our responsibility as council to really illuminate the work that's being done in the community. Is there a perfect, it's not a perfect situation. There's no such thing as perfect work or perfect people, but I think that 9 times out of 10, the things that I hope for and the things that I want to see are, the ball is already rolling. I think that's really cool. So to see this award and to see the city moving forward, again, with not perfect, there's always room for growth, but to see forward momentum with our technology and our website and an award for it is really great. So this is a testament to the work that the city employees have done, and hopefully a little bit of a spotlight for the people in the community to recognize that that work exists.
Okay, seeing no more questions, we will vote on the motion. And it's unanimous.
Our next report is item 9.5, and that's the Administrative and Legislative Review Committee of November 26 for information.
Your Worship, I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Okay, we'll receive the minutes for information. Can I have a seconder?
I will second.
Thank you. Questions, Councillor McGrogan, or comments?
Yes, thank you. Just a comment. I know, as probably many of you heard around the table through our campaigning, was all this, why are all these meetings enclosed? And I guess I just wanted to give a quick explanation about the Admin and Ledge Review Committee and why the topic was enclosed. And it was because we were discussing citizens who've applied for various committees. Just kind of a vetting process before it goes to secret ballot and open. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. And again, it's to protect the names of these excellent citizens who have said, hey, you know what, I want to be involved in the community. So just an opportunity. I want to thank everybody that did apply. There's a lot of people have put their names forward, and I want to thank each and every one of them and just provide a little information about, I guess, some process. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more questions, we will vote on the motion to receive for information. And it's unanimous.
Our next report is item 9.6, and this is the Audit Committee meeting of November 29th, and all the items are for information.
So moved.
I will second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councillor Hirsch.
Well, Your Worship, thank you. Just wanted to educate a little bit of the public on A, what is audit all about, but B, more importantly, the information that we received is for the period ending August 31st, 2021, and you might say, geez, that's dated. Well, quite frankly, we did have a meeting that was booked just on the heels of the election, so I just deemed it, there wasn't any earth-shattering or consequential information that wasn't really, quite frankly, already disclosed a little bit. So this did give a chance for our new committee to get formed, ask intelligent questions, to which we did, and had a good discussion with our auditors, KPMG, and did ask some pertinent questions in regards to their handling. Overall, as we've seen and attested to many years, our administration is doing a fantastic job, being very transparent. Their processes and procedures and policies, quite frankly, leaves the bar very high. And we had a chance to talk to the auditors directly with administration not present, and they did indicate that the City of Medicine Hat is doing a fantastic job in making sure that the processes and procedures being followed. So, well done. Thank you.
Seeing no more questions, we will vote on the motion. It's unanimous.
Our last report is item 9.7, and this is the Administrative Committee meeting of December 1st, 2021. And the item number 1, 2022 Municipal and Invest Medicine Hat Budget Update is for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? Councillor Canoto.
Okay, so I'm going to, thank you, Mayor Clark. So the document that we are approving, I would like to amend to add our, I don't know what the language is here. Maybe somebody can help me. Amend to include, can I use language that we use in closed? Like,
Well, Councillor Canoto, I'll draw your attention to the briefing note at page, that might help you out with the language. There's an option. There's some options there. Maybe it's not, that's not something that, one of the ones that you wanted to include, but there is a chart there.
Okay.
Under option 3.
I want to include the funds for the area, the downtown redevelopment plan as an amendment.
I second.
Okay, so for clarity, what you're wanting to add is item A in the chart, City Center Area Redevelopment Plan, operating impact $250,000, funding source operating reserves.
Okay, so before I confirm, I'm going to explain my reasoning behind this. So the reasoning for adding this line item was we have been informed, and I am in support of, further development and research behind the downtown core, the research and support of information moving forward into developing the downtown core. It has been a contentious item with people having multiple perspectives. I see the value in having funds that support this research because we have people that are now investing and organizations that are now investing into the downtown core. I see it could be a potential missed opportunity if we don't do this. So that is, that's my thinking, and yes, that's what I'd like to do.
Okay, so before I go on to Councillor Sharps, I believe that, I'll still come to you, but I believe that you had your name up there for the main discussion. Right now, since there's a motion on the table, we're just going to be debating the motion, and then we'll vote on this motion or any amendments to this motion each separately, and then if the regardless of whether the motion is passed or rejected, then we'll go back to the main content, which is the briefing note as amended or not amended. So, Councillor Robbins.
Sorry, my comment was about the bigger issue of the whole entirety of the budget, not just that one line item. So I didn't want to discuss that one line item particularly, I had a comment on the bigger budget.
Councillor Hyder?
I would have to agree with Councillor Knodel. I agree that we should amend the budget to include the $250,000 for the planning of the more discovery of the downtown. The area development plan is, I believe we should move forward with it, and I don't feel we should stagger or stall right now. I think we have investors interested, and I think the progress would be well received by the city.
Councillor Dumanowski?
Yeah, Your Worship, I just bolster the comments of Councillor Hyder and Knodel. This is the next iteration, next chapter of an exciting opportunity, both aspirationally and getting it beyond a vision of what we want for our downtown and area, broader area. But what we want to see happen there as far as investment, economic development, growth opportunities, we have a need to take it from the talk that we've had on it and the broad vision and take it down to a more detailed planning document so that as the investment comes forward and there's lots of excitement and more on the way, we have some detailed plans to refer to and staff can point to. So this is a very important step. It's a lot of money, but it's an important step. An investment of this money will build on further investment in our downtown and river areas. So this is exciting and certainly our opportunity as the spokespeople for the community to say that we're moving in the right direction and we want to continue that momentum forward. So I'm fully endorsing it.
Councillor McGrogan?
Yes, my comments just really are around the fact that through, I guess, the campaigning process, this, I guess I'm thankful I had so much to talk about that I wasn't aware of, but this whole communication around this plan will be vetted out through this process. There's a lot of, from the briefing that we've had on it, there's a lot of stakeholder engagement. So all the things that I'm sure most of us heard through the campaign trail, this is an opportunity for our community to come out and speak your mind about issues. So that's for that reason I'm in support of it. We need a plan to move forward, and we need to include our citizens, and I'm in support of it.
So I'm going to speak just about not so much this particular amendment or lack of amendment. My thinking is that I still feel like I need a lot more information about what already has been cut and what money has been increased in various divisions. So I would like to see for 2021 a more clear explanation of, or summary, line by line, what has been cut and where increases have been made. The reason for this is that the Crestwood Pool and the Moose Rec Center as examples, it turns out they weren't in the budget anymore, and I didn't really know that until we had some more discussion about it. So I would just like more clarity before we go forward with accepting a budget. I would like to see that, have that clarity on what it is that we would not be funding going forward and what it is that we're going to be increasing funding going forward. So it is just about getting that added clarity. We're in a difficult financial time and just want to be really sure about what our financial position is going forward, and to make sure that we're not inadvertently defunding things or increasing funding to things that I wasn't aware of. So Councillor Sharps hasn't spoken yet, so I think it goes to Councillor Sharps.
So a couple of things. As far as this budget goes, or approving the budget as is, I am not in favor at all. Like Mayor Clark said, we need so much more information in a time of such volatility in this community. This was a huge election topic. I really think that we need as many details as possible with as many line items before we make that decision. And ask for an extra $250,000 for an area structure plan or a plan. I get, we ultimately need to do it, but there was so many pats that led to the discontent that I hope that we kind of recon that and make sure that we don't go down the same path. Second, we're about to ask citizens for a potential increase in their taxes, and we're spending this kind of money. We've got potentially recreation centers closing. I think we owe the community a lot more due diligence. $250,000 seems like a drop in the bucket, but it really isn't. This is their rec facilities. It's not just downtown. I mean, I'm a downtown business holder, and I would love to see it improved, but it's not just about the downtown. It's about our entire community. So I would like more detail with line items showing exactly what this is going to cost us, with a weigh and balance around this horseshoe once we receive that information.
Councillor Knodel?
So I think that there's a few different ways of looking at this financial risk that this could possibly pose for the community. So we have only so many ways that we can make our organization money and make decisions like this with. So these funds that come in oftentimes depend on entrepreneurial or more development-focused or development-inspired decisions. We've got other risks on the line if we don't move forward with this, and I'm not in any rush. I think that I appreciate the comments that are being said around the table about wanting more information and wanting to do what's right for people. I just see it as an opportunity that costs, and there could be potential losses or risks to not considering the benefits of investing in this, investing in information. We can make better decisions and we can move forward. And I guess it's an equal argument to what you're saying about having line items. This is more information about how we can better suit up or stabilize and improve our downtown core, especially because we have citizens who have invested money in the downtown core and are expecting something from that. So I think it's a balancing act, and I do appreciate the other comments that are kind of contrasting mine.
Councillor Robbins?
Thank you, Your Worship. I do have a motion to make later, but I just wanted to touch on maybe giving some background. This area redevelopment plan that's proposed to be added to the budget for the city center area would be the fourth in a series that Medicine Hat already has, just so people are aware of what we're talking about. The Flats has an area redevelopment plan, River Flats, I should say. I live there. I should call it what we're supposed to call it, River Flats. Riverside has an area redevelopment plan, and so does Herald area. The downtown and city center does not have an area redevelopment plan at the moment, which does make it difficult for investors to understand what the city's vision is. I think I heard through the campaign many times people's very big concerns about what was going to happen to areas of Medicine Hat they value, Finley Bridge being, of course, the one we probably all heard the most. And I think what happened was the public received these conceptual drawings to build excitement about what could be there. But then they looked at them and said, well, I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. I use that road. And so we all received a lot of feedback about saying, wait, put the brakes on. Think about this first. So I don't like spending taxpayer dollars, but I would like the opportunity for taxpayers to have input into what happens in the city center development. I would like future investors to look at the city of Medicine Hat as an organized place that has a vision and see if their vision fits into it. So I have a motion about the bigger budget, which I hope I get on the button fast enough to get. But with respect to this idea of an area redevelopment plan, giving an opportunity for Medicine Hat to really figure out what we want to do, and giving citizens input and giving investors some certainty. I see a lot of benefit from doing this at this time, notwithstanding the fact it costs a lot of money. So did the Flats, so did the Riverside, so did the Herald. If you look at them, anyone who's interested, you can find them on the City of Medicine Hat new website. You can find them easily there. If you can't, send me an email, I'll show you where they are. And they really do go through the background of neighborhoods and what is potential there. So for that reason, I'm interested in pursuing this options just so we can have more certainty.
Councillor Hirsch.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. As Chair of MPC, I kind of look at this more of a need for a planning document. I do understand the whole election and what that spoke to, but I think people need to understand that this is a planning document, quite frankly, that will provide a bit more rigidity. This is going to be considered a statutory document after it's done. Well, what does that mean? So what it means is that we will undertake a very comprehensive review of what can be developed in that area. We're not talking about closing any road whatsoever. What we're talking about is what is possible. And what that means is from a staging point of view, from the classification of the different land parcels that are there, everything to do with the pipes, the infrastructure, can we dream a little bit? But yes, we can, but the dream has to be contained into an infrastructure parcel of land that could, if we dream big, might have $1 million implications, but if we stay in the world of what it presents us, we could do some pretty phenomenal things at relatively low cost. So it is a planning document. I do want to reiterate that, in fact, it's check all the boxes above. The citizens were going to be able to absolutely get input. Investors themselves will get an understanding of where the city's headed in regards to capacity for those areas, and they'll take that document and create maybe potentially a business plan that makes sense for them. But what it does signal is some significant understanding of what we can do in that area, and we'll be able to comprehensively answer any questions that developers might have in the future. And I think that's very, very much an important item for them. Thank you.
Councillor Dumanowski.
Well, Your Worship, I appreciate, again, the variety of perspectives on this. And certainly $250,000 is not insignificant. I am reminded, and I suppose Council's reminded, that part of the municipal development plan, which was very much front-facing process that took considerable time, speaks to the need to continue to identify, as has already been said, a planning document, a redevelopment plan, if you will, for the downtown and river area. What I feel is a remnant of the last council, and certainly of the election, is the feeling that, and there was a lot of feedback, certainly I received it as well, about, and I think it's been identified, about the River Road and the bridge. The tail end of this process, and probably the most important part, will be the public's opportunity, as Councilor Grogan said and others, to have their opinion. And that's what the public wants. They had it when they put us around this table, and they will have it when it comes to that plan. But one of the things that Accelerated Financially Fit did is try to scale back costs that were continuing to rise or were not sustainable. If we don't invest, investing has an upfront cost, but it pays in dividends, literally. And if we do this, we signal to the community, we signal to the investors who are on the table, we signal to future investors that we're interested in their economic development. And this community can only grow its tax base if they're interested. Not doing this would signal the opposite. And I'm fearful of that. I believe there is a check and balance that needs to occur when it comes to the broader budget, but to throw the baby out with the bathwater in this regard with this one item based on a broad overview would not be appropriate, in my opinion. So I'm imploring council to support this.
Councillor Sharps.
Thank you, through the chair. So, first of all, I do not suggest we throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just saying, let's not pour the water yet. Let's make sure we do a temperature check and figure this out. I'm all for the public consultation. In fact, that's what I'm really pushing for. But we're spending the $250,000, then getting the public consultation, when we can do a little bit of legwork before. And the reason I say that is we're currently doing a public consultation on Parks and Rec, and it's not going over well. People are complaining on the parameters of the questions they're being asked. They're not being able to give their opinion. So again, we're having our citizens very upset with us. All I'm asking for is to get some parameters around what we want before we just spend the money. You can do this in 2 weeks, but we don't even know what the study is going to entail. So if the Parks and Rec consultation is any indication, I mean, I went to it. The people at Parks and Rec are amazing, but there isn't an opportunity to consult. There's an opportunity to hear what's already been planned, and that is not a consultation.
Okay. So I'm going to just say one more thing, just about the taking a holistic approach to the budget. I understand that there is an amendment on the table. My preference would be to seek the summaries of costs, or where we've reduced funds and where we've increased funds first, so that we have a total line-by-line picture of what we're actually amending in this next budget. And postpone it for now before we make any piecemeal decisions, but we have to vote on this amendment at this point. So seeing no more questions, I will open the vote. Okay, the amendment is passed. And now we will go back into the broader discussion about the briefing note as amended. So it's amended with the inclusion of the area redevelopment plan. Councillor Robbins.
So this is the motion I want to make. I'm going to make a motion that we postpone our budget discussion till December 20th meeting to obtain 2 specific pieces of information that I think I would like to know before called upon to make a significant decision. One, as council knows, but the community doesn't, is we have a planned tour facility on December 13th. There's also public services meeting on that day. I'm hoping to get information at the tour about the moose and crestwood and what their status is, and also to get some preliminary information, at least about the public feedback, before I'm certainly willing or able to discuss the future of those facilities. I don't feel I have enough information yet. So my motion is to postpone the budget until after December 13th. So of course, that would be our December 20th meeting, so that we're able to attend the tour facility and get the feedback. And the second reason I'd like to postpone the budget is in my motion is to obtain a list from City Manager Nicolay of all the accelerated financially fit initiatives in this budget and what cost saving is associated with them or what expense is associated with them. I think having that information would assist me greatly in making a decision. Thank you.
I'd like to second Councillor Robbins' motion.
Councillor Hirsch.
Thanks, Your Worship. Just through the chair, just need to understand what the ramifications if we were to table this, and maybe through City Manager Nicolay or Dennis, if Managing Director Eggert, if you can speak to this. I know there is a MGA requirement for us to have a budget, but what's the timelines? Does that work for you? Thanks.
Thanks for the question, and through the chair. The MGA, the Municipal Government Act, speaks to the requirement to have a budget for each calendar year. Back in December of 2018, the former council did approve 4 single-year budgets for 2019, 20, 21, and 22. So we currently have a budget that has been approved for 2022. That budget, of course, includes assumptions, estimates, which were the best estimates we had back in 2018. But through the passage of time and the events that have occurred since then, those estimates are out of date. And that includes revenue estimates for property taxes and also expense, both assumptions as well as reflecting our current organization. So having said that, we do have a budget in place that we're authorized that we could continue the business. However, in early spring, and I would say probably in March, April, when we are starting to prepare the tax rate bylaws for council consideration, that the tax revenue estimate needs, the tax revenue component of the budget needs to be clarified. Currently, the budget that was approved includes a 4% tax increase. What we're proposing with this budget is a reduction in that with 2.5% increase.
Just so follow up, if you don't mind, Ms. Mayor. So I agree, there is a budget that was proposed for 4 years. So I guess, you know, in follow up to Councillor Robbins' motion, we do have the opportunity, and I do have lots of empathy for the newly elected councillors to, not only did you get onboarded and then suddenly have a bunch of orientation, now you get the honor of implementing a budget to which you don't really have much eyesight on. So I guess my suggestion would be, and I would wholeheartedly support Councillor Robbins' motion to have a little bit of an opportunity. As indicated in the briefing, though, we do have opportunity as any council to make any amendments at any time to the budget. The only thing we need to understand, though, is that if there's ramifications to the tax consideration that's being proposed, that we need to get kind of on this sooner than later, because there might be changes to the tax as Managing Director indicated. So I'm well prepared to support your motion, Councillor Robbins.
Managing Director Egert.
If I could just follow up on that, because I think there's a piece of information that I'm hearing that may be useful for council. The one question was, do we have information that would help explain what the increases or decreases were from 2021 into 2022? And if I understood that question correctly, we have included that in the first page of Appendix A, which lays out some of the broad categories of where those major changes are coming from, whether they're increases or whether they're decreases. And I'm going to just follow along in the appendix as well. The last page of the appendix talks about the summary of the 2021 Accelerated Financially Fit initiatives. And this is the, I'll say, the direction and was included in the budget for 2021. This is a report on actually what the actual delivery of that Accelerated Financially Fit program was. And so I believe, if I understood the question, is help us understand where were the areas that you had applied Accelerated Financially Fit to. And included in that last page in the appendix includes those categories that we were focusing on and where we delivered it. If I could summarize in really high terms, about a third of the savings, a third of the impact, I'll say, was revenue-based. A third of it was related to restructuring efforts, as well as bargaining negotiations. And the other third was based on other expense, and I would put innovation examples in there as well on where we had reduced expenses. So I just wanted to point that out to council as you were deliberating this. Thank you.
Thank you. So on that point, I think from my perspective, looking for quite a bit more detail, at least down to the department level, in terms of where precisely are we not going to be funding things into the future, like a Crestwood Pool, like a Moose Rec Center, so we have that level of detail. And I'm not sure that I can make a friendly amendment, but if I can't, can I? Okay, my friendly amendment would be, if I could make one, is that we don't specify accelerated financially fit measures, because I don't know exactly what that means, and maybe put a deadline, like, so that we have sufficient time to review it prior to our next council meeting, potentially. I think you mentioned December 13th in your, that's when your public services is, maybe around that time, or is that when you're touring the facility? Okay, so anyway, I would propose removing specifically accelerated financially fit and putting some kind of reasonable, I'm assuming each department knows what they cut and increased, so it probably shouldn't take that much time to put together. Councillor Robbins.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I had reviewed all of those appendices and had additional questions, which was the reason I made the motion, was so I could get further information. We did receive them, I see them line by line, but there's often an explanation of that something, accelerated financial fit had caused a number to go up. And I have further questions about why that would be, and then what's going to happen in 2022, if that's going to continue, if that's like beyond 2022 to 2023. There's some additional questions.
Councillor Dubanowski.
Through the chair, I recognize the intent of the request to delay. I definitely don't want to be sitting here as a former sitting councillor and re-elected councillor and speaking against that. My only concern is that each time we bring this back, inevitably what we bring to the next meeting will be a listing of some sorts. I'm assuming that may or may not be adequate time for staff to put that level of detail down and then have time to digest it. It will in turn give cause to more considerations around the table about what should or shouldn't be in, because my assumption would be, by asking for that level of detail, which I'm not against, but to ask that would suggest that there will be at least one or two or three or more decision items for or against some of those potentially, which will have a costing impact, which will change the assumptions upon which the budget has been determined and set for, or at least projected to be set for, the fourth year. As has been said, we do have the opportunity at any time to make adjustments and amendments, and I recognize, and I'm just going to say it, I know the pool and the Moose Center are kind of our springboards for maybe the initial delay, but maybe more that would come out of a more detailed analysis. But and I too heard from the public, and I know that there's a lot of concern around the decisions that have been made both during a COVID environment and then identifying some capital impacts or needs that were identified for these facilities and so on and so forth. That there's a lot of consternation in the public around that, and that certainly needs to be validated, and it wasn't ignored the last term, and certainly as the new council we have to take that to heart. But if we want to and we pass this budget, we have the opportunity to come back both after a tour, because even after a tour, which I'll be a part of, I don't believe I'll necessarily have a better opportunity to make a decision about the operating impact or the capital impact than I do right now. But what I will look forward to is the recreation master plan and the public consultation and the feedback that we will garner from that in relation to these and other broad sweeping costings in the budget, both in the current year potentially and future years. So for me, if I had it my way, and I'm certainly would prefer that we would move ahead. We did identify that the area redevelopment plan for the city center would be amended portion of this budget. I would prefer that we move ahead, and then as we identify things, and it's certainly our purview, that we come back and have the opportunity to make those changes at a future time. But I'm hesitant to see the budget delayed again, and I certainly believe if we do this, it will come back in 2 weeks' time delayed. It'll be necessary to delay it yet again, because there will be new impacts that we'll have to have staff go back and understand and bring to us so that we can make an informed decision. So I would be my preference to do that, and so I will not be supporting it.
Councillor McGrogan?
I just have a question first for clarity. If this budget is moved to the 20th, this does not really affect any of the legal ramifications of the budget and the tax rates. Have I got that right?
Through the chair to Councillor McGrogan, you're absolutely correct. There's no ramifications on the tax rates at this time.
Okay, I understand, I respect your opinion, Councillor Dubanowski, but I guess being new, I'm not afraid to peel the onion back a bit to have a look. I'm very confident that this administration has done an excellent job at laying the budget out. We've had a lot of great conversation about it, but as a new councillor, I'm not afraid of getting, and I'm not saying that's what you were saying, I'm not afraid of getting a little more information just to put some comfort around a yes or a no. And now that we've made the amendment with the $250,000, which I support, I can't see the negative other than there might be more questions. And I think that's what we're here for, is to ask questions. So I'd support it.
Councillor Van Dyke?
Yes, I'll just echo what Councillor McGrogan said, that as new councillors coming into this and being flooded with information and feeling the full weight of responsibility on us from the electorate, that we want to make wise and careful decisions. And I think that moving ahead with something when we haven't even had the chance to have our tour and get better information about some of the previous cuts, I feel like it would be a little bit negligent in my duty to do something like that. And so I support Councillor Robbins.
So we're going to be voting on the motion. Seeing no further questions?
Yeah, so right now you're voting on postponing the budget with the $250,000 for the area structure redevelopment plan, but you're voting on postponing this to December 20th.
So point of procedure, is this a tabling motion?
Postponing, tabling is if we're dealing with it at the meeting. Postponing it is picking a date. So we're postponing this budget. That's what's on the floor right now, is to postpone it to December 20th.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Knodel?
Just very quick, this postponement would include the revised tax rate, or do we decide on that on the 20th? It would include the 2%?
So, yes, so the budget going forward is with the 2.5% tax rate. And so that's the budget we would be voting on. The budget that's in place, really all we're doing is we're amending an existing budget. So there is a budget in place for 2022, and perhaps that was amended at some point too by the previous council, but there is a 2022 budget that's in place. We're amending it with this with this budget. And so this budget that we're going to be amending the current budget with includes the 2.5% tax rate instead of the 4% tax rate. All right, let's vote on the motion to postpone the item as amended. The motion is passed, and the item is postponed till December 20th.
So now we're going to make a vote on the motion as originally amended. So because you have Councillor Dumanowski and Councillor Hirsch that put this on the table, so we're voting to postpone it as amended. The
We
original.
voted on the amendment.
Yep. So you have Councillor Dumanowski and Hirsch that put it on the table. We made an amendment for the City Centre Development Area Structure Plan, and then you postponed it, and now we're voting on it as amended. Yeah, but you have a motion standing out there. We're just voting on the original motion as amended so we can postpone it. We didn't vote on this one yet. Here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3. Yeah, but you're still voting it as amended for postponement. It's just a formality.
Okay, so if we want to postpone it as amended, we have to vote on it again, yes.
Yeah, it's just it's voted on as amended. The
Okay.
original motion is being voted on as amended to postpone it to December 20th. You've got two amendments. So we're voting on the original motion. It's Councillor Dumanowski and Hirsch's original motion that's on the floor. So it's going to come back on December 20th.
Kathy, I trust you.
It's an extra vote. That's all.
It's passed.
It will come back to council on December 20th with your specifics of information. And the next item that we have on the agenda, we actually withdrew. So 11.1 has been withdrawn at the beginning. Oh, yes, thank you. The police report. Item 10.1, the Police Commission meeting of October 28th.
Can I get a motion for receipt for information?
I motion that we receive it for information.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, we will vote. It's unanimous.
Okay, I won't jump ahead too far again. Next I haven't received any notice of motions, and our next under new business, item 13.1 is Future of Monarch Theatre, a verbal request for information, I believe from Councillor Sharps.
Thanks. So I just wanted to bring this up for a topic of conversation. We had a referendum of the CCDA back in May of 2021. So that is approximately 7.5 months ago. And my understanding is after the referendum, the city took ownership of the Monarch and we closed its doors, and it's been closed ever since. So I know that is not sitting well in the community. People want it opened. I know there might be some costs involved, but I believe there's a volunteer group that is happy to help out and take care of all the costs associated. I have concerns with a building that age, much like my own building, sitting dormant with not people going in and, lines being used and flushed and, all that warm fuzzy. So wondering if we could have a conversation about getting it open even for the Christmas season, maybe working with the Friends of the Monarch to facilitate getting that downtown and open. And I realize we still have to do work on it, but while we're working on a resolution for it, whether we're selling it or keeping it, can we get it open?
City Manager Nicolay.
Actually, Mayor Clark, I was going to defer to you. We would stand ready to reopen if council's preference is to reopen. We have spoken with the Friends of the Monarch. They are very keen. They've got a big celebration that they want to stage at the theater in December in any event, and we were hoping to be able to accommodate that. But if it's council's preference to get some movement within that building and working with the Friends of the Monarch is an acceptable arrangement during the interim, while council considers its long-term options, we'd be happy to accommodate that.
Councillor Robbins?
I was just going to say, I wonder if this fits under the umbrella of Public Service Committee, and if it's something that I can then add to our Public Services agenda for Monday, the December 13th.
So what we could do is make a motion to defer this matter to, I don't even know if we have to, but make a motion to defer this matter to the Public Services Committee for consideration and report back.
I would love to make that motion.
I'd be happy to second.
Is there any discussion, questions, concerns? Okay, let's vote. It's unanimous.
Our next item under new business is item 13.2, and that is council member appointments to Palliser Economic Partnership. And I believe Councillor Dumanowski is going to make a motion.
Your worship, I move that City Council appoint Councillor Hyder and Councillor Sharps to the Palliser Economic Partnership, effective immediately until the period ending October 17, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion or questions? Councillor Hyder?
Your worship, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve on this board committee. It sounds pretty exciting and truly something I'm interested in. So I look forward to working with Councillor Sharps on this.
Thank you. Councillor Sharps?
I could be blind, but I was trying to find some terms of reference. Is there any that I can find? I couldn't find any on the public directory.
Perhaps I'm really putting you on the spot here. Managing Director Van Enck, no is a total, I have no idea, totally acceptable answers, but if you have them.
I don't know for sure, but I can get you the answer very quickly. Quentin that heads up PEP, we have a great relationship with him. We talk to him daily, and John Sokochev currently sits on that board. So I will look for a terms of reference for you tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, seeing no more discussion, we will vote on the motion. It is unanimous.
And the last item, 13.3, facility naming rights agreement, was already dealt with, so I don't have anything else on the agenda.
Okay, so since our meeting, or our closed meeting went longer than expected, I'm going to request a motion to move back into closed.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry. I move to move back into closed.
I'll second.
Excellent, thank you. We will need to vote on that motion. It's unanimous, thank you. Let's take 10-minute bio break, or whatever you want to do, and for that 10 minutes.